A sensation in our galaxy. A great piece of land on which the United States of America was located broke off from the planet Earth and flew off into the depths of outer space. This event was preceded by certain circumstances that may explain it. What do the following have in common? A Muslim peasant, a European intellectual, an Iranian soldier, a Danish actress, a Latin American president, German students, an African worker, and Russian generals. They all hate America. The USA, of course, is a great country, the undisputed leader of world progress. But just like any great power, she is full of inner contradictions. And of course, not everyone likes the American lifestyle, the American way of behaving, and it is possible not to like Americans as a people. It is not necessary to love America, but hate it? For what? And which America? The real one? Only a few of the millions or billions of people who do not like or actually hate America have seen it. They experience these feelings not toward the country that actually exists, but toward some phantom, a virtual image created by propaganda. The demonization of America began with the start of the Cold War, when all the power of that gigantic Stalinist propaganda machine was turned against it. The communists created the image of a country embodying all the world's evil. America sucks out all the juices from poor countries, spins intrigues, threatens them with an atom bomb, and exploits nations. Clichés. American imperialists are racists and aggressors. American militarists become habitual. Yankees are haughty and impolite boors. They produce all the world's misfortunes: poverty, hunger, diseases, wars. They are poisoners of nature and enemies of all that lives on Earth. The clichés created by Soviet propaganda have turned out to be extremely resilient. They fell on fertile soil, and since that time, their clones are traveling around the Earth in various guises, poisoning the social consciousness. The main and most widespread myth about the United States is that she is aggressively striving to gain world hegemony. She is the only superpower in today's unipolar world and imposes her will, her values, her way of life on other countries. But these assertions are far from the truth. Although America does indeed possess enormous economic potential and military might, in all the wars which the USA, like other great powers, has conducted, whether just or controversial, whether victorious or not, this country has never made its goal to turn another country into a colony or even a satellite. Defeated Germany or Japan became flourishing world powers, not without the support of those same United States. And undefeated Vietnam now actively cooperates with its former adversary. Can the President of the USA really give an order by telephone to the leader of another country, just like Stalin and Brezhnev did, giving orders to the leaders of Hungary, Bulgaria, and Poland? Look at the map. Where are the American colonies? Where are the puppet regimes? Can you name even one country that would unconditionally obey orders from Washington? What kind of imperialism is that without an empire? America has the strongest army in the world and enjoys significant military superiority over all the other countries of the world. If the adversaries of this country, such as Iran or North Korea, had such superiority, it is not hard to guess how they would use it. Another widespread myth is that the Americans established their prosperity by fleecing their resources of less developed countries and exploiting their peoples. Excuse me, But what resource theft are we talking about? Who is really to blame for economic backwardness, poverty, misery, and disease in third world countries? For whom did America take away diamonds, metals, oil? From Iran? From Venezuela? From Saudi Arabia? Who is stealing from whom? Generally, the USA has a negative trade balance with the countries of the Third World. The USA pays more for raw materials to those countries than it receives for them in payment for its goods. Over the past 15 years, oil-producing nations have raised oil prices 6 to 7 times. This means that they have received this many times more for their God-given resources. Where the rulers had enough sense to properly dispose of the profits coming from the sky, the people live very well, sometimes even better than the American people. But those countries that spend their receipts on the senseless ambitions of their political leaders, dictators, and tyrants, on the enrichment of the ruling classes, on bureaucratic corruption, keep blaming all their problems on whom? The answer is not hard to guess: America.
أمريكا هي العدو الأول لشعب فلسطين وللأمة الإسلامية والعربية. نعم، أمريكا هي العدو الأول لهذا الشعب. أمريكا هي العدو الأول للأمة الإسلامية.
Take Cuba, for example. The Cubans, nearly 50 years ago, broke off economic relations with the US, which no longer exploits them. The result? Cuba is one of the poorest countries in Latin America. Moreover, the most petty and improbable myths and accusations are constantly arising. The spread of AIDS all over the world? This was done by the hands of American Secret Services operatives. CIA agents are everywhere, undermining all progressive regimes and setting up constant provocations. For this purpose, they insidiously make use of charitable and humanitarian foundations. American culture corrupts other nations, dictates alien values. Scientific cooperation is only a way of organizing a brain drain to America, or of collecting intelligence data. In general, any act by the United States in the international arena necessarily gives rise to more and more accusations. All these myths and accusations are easy to disprove, but people believe in them, millions of people, because they want to believe them. The true reasons for this lie deep in the unconscious and are founded on hidden human complexes. First among them is the ordinary human feeling of envy. Always and everywhere, the poor have envied the rich. The sick have envied the healthy. Plain people have envied beautiful people. Failures have envied the fortunate. And this goes not only for individual qualities, but also for social groups and whole nations. America is a flourishing country. Americans live well. They enjoy their lives. While we are poor and we fight over a piece of bread, we have a mass of injustices. Who is guilty for that? The United States of America. Whether America is really guilty or not no longer matters much. The important thing is that we have found the source of evil. It is them. They are guilty of everything. Another complex is connected with resistance to change, with conservatism of consciousness. The speed with which America moves along the path of world progress, with other Western countries following right behind, is incompatible with the slow steps of backward and poor countries which are left on the sidelines of progress. Those who are hopelessly left behind, who find themselves in a historical dead end, seek a way out from that position and find the easiest way out. We have no chance to become leaders without accepting the basic values of world civilization. The idea of salvation is this: reverse course, diametrically change global goals. Up with medievalism, down with soulless technological civilization. Up with originality, right religion, and age-old traditions. It is amazing to contemplate, but many Europeans, and above all members of the European intellectual elite, such as journalists, artists, and politicians, are in the same camp. They have their own complexes, which are difficult to understand and explain in the same manner. For many centuries, Europe was the cradle of Western civilization, a recognized leader in science, art, politics. European thinkers created contemporary humanist ideology based on human rights. And suddenly, leadership swam away across the ocean. Naturally, there were offended feelings, jealousy, a desire to unseat the usurper. Just recently, European countries possessed enormous empires, and their power determined the political map of the world. Until now, the populations of these countries, especially the elites, suffer from imaginary pains over their lost empires. This is true especially with regard to Russia. Only yesterday, Russia was a mighty superpower, but today she is just another European country, offended by the lost Cold War, which deprived the country of its imperial status. A hope for revenge boils underneath her consciousness. These complexes motivate the actions of a majority of European journalists and politicians who exploit any opportunity to slander America. Violence and human rights violations in many countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America do not call forth even a fraction of the indignation that European society expresses in relation to the violations of the rights of prisoners, extremely dangerous terrorist killers in Guantanamo, who do not always receive their coffees on time. How did the Americans dare to lead a few of these arrested fighters or terrorist leaders through European airports without letting the world know about it, and without informing the comrades of the arrested terrorists? Similar complexes are at the base of behavior of the youth circus of anti-globalists jumping from one country to another. They are fighting against American imperialism by recklessly crushing cars, smashing shop windows, and maiming policemen who are not guilty of anything. In general, hatred toward everyone who represents the state, including police, is part of the character of many people. Psychologists maintain that hatred toward the United States in many countries, on the other hand, the bellicose enmity toward the United States on the part of all types of dictators and totalitarian regimes can be explained in a fully rational way. Here he is, a respected and beloved leader. He is almost a god, an idol at any rate. They sing hymns to him, they glorify him, they bow down to him. He is a demigod. One has to hate the enemy and be prepared for war with him. By the way, military preparations are an excellent means for even deeper control of one's people. In some countries, preparation for war with America becomes the meaning of and the most fundamental goal justifying the government's existence. All to war against the hated enemy. And the enemy becomes even more hated, simply satanic.
En este mismo lugar huele a azufre todavía. Esta mesa donde me ha tocado hablar.
Warmed by this type of angry propaganda, millions of people would like to throw themselves into war with a hated enemy tomorrow. Already, thousands of fanatics are prepared to blow themselves up. Already, crowds are chanting, "Death to America!" Just imagine that the furious hatred of millions acquires such force that it calls forth a worldwide cataclysm that throws the USA off the globe into another galaxy. Hooray! It happened. The great anti-American dream came true. The world has parted with the source of evil. The path to universal happiness is open. But then, all the holidays end, the weekdays begin, and we return to our everyday routines, and immediately we notice the changes. We turn on the TV. No more Hollywood movies, no serials, no popular shows, and no celebrities. Well, okay, not to worry. The American stars can be replaced by Indians, Arabs, or Koreans. National cultures will develop much better without Americans. More folk traditions, more national originality. In general, one can get along without culture, especially without American culture. But more serious problems have arrived. How can we do without American science? It suffices to note that more than half of the Nobel laureates since 1950 have been citizens of the United States. The majority of scientific investigations are slowed or completely stopped. Progress in world science and technology slows down, and many technologies that are crucially important for sustaining life are under threat of complete collapse, since they were created and carried out with the direct and very active participation of Americans. In our time, only reindeer breeders and mountain shepherds can live without computers, the internet, and machines. The successful functioning of the rest of society is not possible. Perhaps only reindeer breeders and mountain shepherds will be able to survive. To create a new scientific elite is far from an easy task. A list, prepared by Chinese specialists, of the world's 600 best universities includes 400 American universities. Half of humanity will simply perish while waiting for Venezuela's Harvard and Saudi Arabia's Stanford to appear. Earthquakes, floods, typhoons, tsunamis. The answers to all the threats that hang over mankind today have to be searched for now. How is it possible to cope without unique American technologies? And what about epidemics and dangerous diseases? How can they be combated without American medicines and American medical devices? Organ transplant operations and advances in the field of genetic engineering are largely of American origin. Without American research, we can forget about victory over cancer and other terrible diseases. Shortages of produce and water resources, catastrophic pollution of the environment, energy crisis, global warming. Only science and modern technology can save the human race from these threats. On the other hand, all of this doesn't happen overnight. Perhaps progress will slow down, perhaps hundreds of millions of people will perish, but at least those who survive will live in a bright future without Americans. And isn't it worth making some sacrifices for the sake of a bright future? But there is a more important matter. What to do about the economy? American industry is a significant part of world industrial production. The United States brings a lot of good to the world market and consumes even more. In reality, America's share of the world economy is significantly greater than most people realize. Whether we like globalization or not, it is a reality. Just observe how sensitive the stock markets are to economic changes in this or that country. If the wind blows cold somewhere in Hong Kong, people sneeze in London and Paris. Exports to America are the basis for many countries' prosperity. American stores are full of Japanese electronics. Japanese, Korean, and German cars run on the streets of American cities. The shelves are full of vegetables and fruits from South America. Where could all this stuff be sent if the main buyer were to disappear? Workshops and factories would begin to close. The demand for energy supplies would begin to shrink. Oil and gas would get cheaper. Prices will slide, and in the end, simply collapse. Subsequently, without the main player on the hard currency market, without the notorious Wall Street, the whole world economic system will also collapse. New productive powers will also not be discovered. American banks are the world's largest investors. They invest more than $800 million a year in the economies of other countries. The flood of petrodollars will practically run dry, but the populations of oil-producing countries have already gotten used to the good life. And now the shadows of unemployment, misery, social conflicts, and devastation hang over them. Runaway inflation, The collapse of national currencies and industrial crisis will touch on everyone in a domino effect. Nobody can be saved. No one can remain on the sidelines. A classic revolutionary situation will be created. This will mean meetings, strikes, protests, violence, anarchy, and chaos. The hungry person will go after the well-fed. The beggar will go after the wealthy. Cities will struggle with other cities. Tribes will fight with other tribes. And it is a well-known fact that revolutions are made not only by hungry people, but also by well-fed people who have missed a single meal. Europe will, of course, try to claim the situation and replace the United States in the political arena. But who will rely on Europe now? Totalitarian regimes respect only strength. In the newly created situation, the leaders of terrorist organizations, fundamentalists, and dictators will come to power in the majority of Muslim countries. In Southeast Asia and Latin America, the number of dictatorial regimes will grow in tandem with exponential growth in the number of social protests. In Russia, the rapid fall of oil and other energy prices will cause the level of life to fall many times. The loud displeasure of a population falling into misery will bring to power fundamentalists, professional patriots, obscurantists, soldiers, and all sorts of power structures united by the idea of a strong hand. Of course, the new rulers will succeed in putting several million people in Stalinist-style prisons and spreading nationalist propaganda. But the mountains of piled-up bombs and rockets will not save Russia from penetration by all types of fighters and local nationalists from the Caucasus and Central Asia, and by Chinese and Koreans, who have been looking with lust at the empty Siberian spaces from the east. Civilized Europe, which has always treated Russia with suspicion, will turn away from the inhuman face of Russian nationalism. The political atmosphere in the world will grow ever more threatening. Dictatorial regimes are inclined to expansion and aggression. The notorious superpower is around no longer. There is no strong player who can restrain those who intend to violate the rules of the game. There are no enforcers, no police, and this means that everything is permitted. Already today, Iran and North Korea have tried to acquire nuclear weapons. But now, every country that is not lazy will acquire them. And then one explodes somewhere, and there are no longer moral boundaries, since the feeling of fear disappeared together with America. Who will be first? Maybe North Korea was offended by China, or India and Pakistan decided to test their atomic power on each other. Or perhaps the notorious Hugo Chavez decides to use his billions of dollars of armaments. Maybe Israel will launch a preventative strike, or on the contrary, the Arab countries try to attack Israel. Perhaps the Sunnis and Shiites don't want to share their flocks of sheep. Maybe Russia will get tired of always having to defend itself against its neighbors and decide to destroy them with a single stroke. In general, it is enough just to begin. This is how the incarnation of the great anti-American dream ends up. Since all of mankind cannot die immediately, those who survive will cry, "Come back, America!" And the Americans, in the depths of space, will shudder, seeing their former planet in such deep turmoil, and will return to their place in the Western Hemisphere. America is back! It means there is someone to be hated, to be afraid of, to be protested against, to be blamed for all mortal sins, namely the normal state of things. And thank God there are still people on Earth who are able to think and correctly evaluate America's place in the real world.
Сенсация в нашей галактике. От планеты Земля отделился огромный кусок суши, на котором располагалось государство под названием Соединенные Штаты Америки, и улетел в глубины мирового космоса. Этому событию предшествовали определенные объясняющие его обстоятельства. Что общего между мусульманским кочевником и европейским интеллектуалом? Что объединяет иранских военных и датскую киноактрису? Что роднит латиноамериканского президента и немецких студентов, африканского рабочего и российских генералов? Ненависть к Америке. Конечно, Америка — великая страна, бесспорный лидер мирового прогресса. Но, как и любая большая держава, она полна внутренних противоречий. И, конечно, не всякому нравится американский стиль жизни, американская манера поведения. Могут не нравиться американцы и как народ. Не обязательно любить Америку, но ненавидеть. За что? И какую Америку? Реальную? Ее видели немногие из миллионов, а может быть миллиардов тех, кто Америку не любит или действительно ненавидит. А чувства свои они испытывают к некому фантому, виртуальному образу, созданному пропагандой. Демонизация Америки началась со стартом Холодной войны, когда на нее обрушилась вся мощь гигантской сталинской пропагандистской машины. Коммунисты создали образ страны, воплощающей все мировое зло. Америка высасывает соки из бедных стран, плетет интриги, грозит атомной бомбой, эксплуатирует народы. Клише «американские империалисты», они же расисты и агрессоры, американская военщина, становятся привычными. Янки — высокомерные невежественные хамы, от них все несчастья мира, бедность, голод, болезни, войны. Созданные коммунистической пропагандой мифы и штампы оказались чрезвычайно живучими. Они упали на благодатную почву, и с тех пор клоны их кочуют по земле в разных вариантах, отравляя общественное сознание. Главный и самый распространенный миф об Америке – она агрессивна и стремится к мировому господству. Это единственная сверхдержава в сегодняшнем однополярном мире, которая навязывает свою волю, распространяет свои правила, свои ценности, навязывает свой образ жизни другим странам. Но эти утверждения далеки от истины. Хотя США и обладают огромным экономическим потенциалом и военной мощью, во всех войнах, которые, как и все великие державы, вела Америка, справедливые, спорные, победоносные, не очень, она никогда не ставила своей целью превратить другую страну в колонию или даже сателлита. Побежденные Германия и Япония стали процветающими мировыми державами, не без поддержки тех же Соединенных Штатов. А непобежденный Вьетнам сейчас активно сотрудничает с бывшим противником. Разве американский президент может отдать команду по телефону лидеру другой страны, как, например, это делали Сталин и Брежнев, отдавая приказы руководителям Венгрии, Болгарии или Польши? Взгляните на карту. Где американские колонии? Где марионеточные режимы? Назовите хотя бы одну страну, которая беспрекословно выполняет приказы Вашингтона. И что это за империализм без империи? Американская армия самая сильная в мире. Она имеет значительное военное превосходство над всеми другими армиями. Если бы такое превосходство было бы у оппонентов США, таких как Иран или Северная Корея, нетрудно догадаться, как бы они его использовали. Другой распространенный миф. Американцы основали свое благополучие за счет выкачивания ресурсов из слаборазвитых стран, за счет эксплуатации их народов. Позвольте, но о каком грабеже чужих богатств идет речь? Кто действительно виноват в экономической отсталости, бедности, нищете, болезнях в странах третьего мира? У кого Америка отбирает алмазы, металлы, нефть? У Ирана? У Венесуэлы? У Саудовской Аравии? И кто кого грабит? У Америки отрицательный торговый баланс со странами третьего мира. США больше платят за сырье этим странам, чем получают от них за счет продажи своих товаров. За последние 15 лет нефтедобывающие страны подняли цены на нефть в 6-7 раз, а значит и получили за свои богом данные ресурсы во столько же раз больше. Там, где у правителей хватило ума правильно распорядиться упавшей с неба прибылью, народ живет очень хорошо. Ну а те, кто использовал полученные средства на безумные амбиции своих политических лидеров, диктаторов и тиранов, на обогащение правящих классов, на бюрократическую коррупцию, продолжают во всех бедах винить кого? Нетрудно догадаться. Америку.
أمريكا هي العدو الأول لشعب فلسطين وللأمة الإسلامية والعربية. نعم، أمريكا هي العدو الأول لهذا الشعب. أمريكا هي العدو الأول للأمة الإسلامية.
Кубинцы почти 50 лет назад порвали экономические отношения с Америкой, которая их больше не эксплуатирует. А результат? Куба – одна из самых бедных стран Латинской Америки. Кроме двух основных мифов, постоянно возникают более мелкие мифы и обвинения, иногда самые невероятные. Распространение СПИДа во всем мире – дело рук американских спецслужб. Кругом агенты ЦРУ, подрывающие все прогрессивные режимы и устраивающие постоянные провокации. Для этой цели они коварно используют свои благотворительные и гуманитарные фонды. Американская культура развращает другие народы, навязывает чуждые ценности. Научное сотрудничество – способ или организовать утечку мозгов в Америку, или собрать разведывательные данные. В общем, любое действие Соединенных Штатов на международной арене обязательно порождает все новые и новые обвинения. Подлинные причины этого кроются глубоко в подсознании и основаны на скрытых человеческих комплексах. Скажи мне, за что ты ненавидишь Америку, и я скажу тебе, какими комплексами ты страдаешь. И самый первый из них – обычная человеческая зависть. Везде и всегда бедные завидовали богатым, больные здоровым, некрасивые красивым, неудачники счастливчикам. И это касается не только отдельных личностей, но и общественных групп и целых народов. Америка – процветающая страна. Американцы живут хорошо. Они наслаждаются